Loving Parents. Welcome players to the SS Rank Horror Instance, Loving Parents. Players, please complete the mission Save the Parents. The room was decorated in vibrant colors, with many plush toys filling the space. In front was a wooden door. Keen Shishi couldn't help but feel puzzled. Why did the wooden door in front of her seem so tall? She reached out to grasp the doorknob, but her hand was only just able to grip it. It wasn't until her gaze fell upon her own hand that she froze for a moment, then extended her other hand. Spreading her hands before her eyes, Keen Shishi realized her hands were so small and soft. She then looked down at her lower body. Her long legs, which she had always been proud of, were now gone, replaced by short, chubby, radish-like legs. What's going on? Keen Shishi haphazardly felt all over her body and realized she seemed to have turned into a child. Disbelieving, she tried to speak to see if her voice had changed. Hello. Her voice was a soft, sweet, childish lisp, clearly a child's voice, like that of a 3 or 4-year-old. Before Keen Shishi could figure out the situation, the doorknob in front of her turned a few times, as if someone was opening the door from the outside. She instinctively stepped back a few paces to avoid being hit by the door. As the door opened from the outside, a middle-aged woman wearing a pink apron and shoulder-length hair walked in. Her expression was clearly kind, yet it conveyed an unsettling incongruity. She spoke in a syrupy voice to Keen Shishi. Shishi, why are you here? Mommy has been looking for you for a long time. Come quickly, Mommy will carry you to eat. Otherwise, Daddy will get angry. Keen Shishi wasn't sure what was happening, so she allowed the woman, who called herself Mommy, to pick her up and carry her out of the room filled with plush toys. Arriving on the first floor, at a large table, sat a middle-aged man with an impatient expression. Several thin scratches were visible at the corners of his eyes, as if from something sharp. It seemed this man was likely the daddy the woman spoke of. Next to Daddy sat 4 other children, 2 boys and 2 girls, all appearing to be 3 or 4 years old, gazing at Keen Shishi in Mommy's arms with astonished expressions. Their astonishment was understandable. Little Keen Shishi looked as beautiful as a finely carved doll, and one of the boy children unconsciously drooled from the corner of his mouth. Good heavens, Q-Ming, the simpleton usually can't move when he sees a beautiful woman, and now that he's a child, he's not even letting go of such a tiny girl. What nonsense are you spouting? This is the first time I've seen such a beautiful little girl. I don't know which female player's miniature version this is. This is purely admiration, plus I super like her. Stop it, I forbid you from coveting my daughter. What do you mean, your daughter? I claimed her first. You go to the back, you eyesore. No, you guys are missing the point. Aren't you curious about the content of this instance? I've never seen an instance before that turns players into children. It looks like a newly opened SS rank instance. There's no strategy guide, so they'll have to rely on themselves. No way, is such a beautiful little girl going to be gone? It breaks my heart, boo-hoo-hoo. As Mommy gently placed Keen Shishi on an empty chair, she cast a slightly angry glance at the drooling boy and said, Xiaoming, watch your drool, don't get it on the food. Xiaoming, called out by name, raised his sleeve and wiped the drool from the corner of his mouth, but his eyes remained glued to Keen Shishi, the beautiful doll, not moving an inch. Let's eat, children. Mommy, seeing that everyone was present, began to instruct them to eat breakfast. Keen Shishi looked at the sandwich in her bowl, which emitted a strange meaty aroma. Somehow, she just didn't want to eat it. Xiaoming, why aren't you eating yet? Do you dislike Mommy's cooking? Mommy asked, staring strangely at Xiaoming, who sat across from Keen Shishi with a little girl between them, her tone somewhat displeased. Xiaoming, startled by being called, looked up with a flustered expression and said, "No, Mommy, I'm just not hungry. I don't want to eat breakfast yet." Hearing this, Daddy's sharp gaze swept over Xiaomei's face, and he spoke without emotion. If Xiaomei doesn't want to eat breakfast, perhaps she'd rather go play games with Daddy in the room. Upon hearing Daddy's words, Xiaomei's expression changed from flustered to terrified. She immediately shook her head in horror, saying, "No, Daddy, I'm hungry now, I'll eat right away." Before she finished speaking, Xiaomei picked up the sandwich from her plate and brought it to her mouth. Her eyes were filled with reluctance to eat it, but she eventually took a slow bite. Seeing this, Daddy and Mommy were very satisfied and withdrew their gazes from Xiaomei. Qin Shishi looked at Xiaomei, the only one of the 4 children who was thin and scrawny, clearly malnourished. Then she looked at the strangely fragrant sandwich in her hand, and a terrifying thought flashed through her mind: the sandwich was probably not simple. At this moment, Mommy saw that Qin Shishi was still sitting in her seat, showing no intention of eating the sandwich. Her brows furrowed, and she asked with some displeasure, "Shishi, aren't you hungry either?" Instantly, all eyes in the room turned to Qin Shishi. Qin Shishi felt a chill down her spine, but she still withstood Daddy's and Mommy's dangerous gazes and sweetly said, "Mommy, I am hungry, but I think Mommy works too hard, so I plan to give Mommy the best part of the sandwich to eat, to thank Mommy for taking such good care of us." With that, Qin Shishi took out the strangely fragrant meat slice from the sandwich, along with the lettuce that held it. Then, she adorably hopped off her chair and went to Mommy, who was sitting in the adjacent seat, and with a look of concern for Mommy, she handed the meat slice wrapped in lettuce to her. Mommy, who had been somewhat angry, paused upon hearing this. Then she gently stroked Qin Shishi's beautiful head, raised the corners of her mouth, and praised, "Shishi is truly Mommy's good daughter, so filial." Qin Shishi's harmless and beautiful little face broke into a happy smile. This is what Shishi should do. Shishi has always seen Mommy's hard work. I knew there was something wrong with Xiaomei refusing to eat the sandwich. That meat is probably human flesh. Zhang Yan, that guy, he really has the stomach for it. I don't believe he couldn't tell there was something wrong with that sandwich. To survive in a horror instance, he's eaten this kind of thing before. He's probably used to it by now. Anyway, if I knew, I definitely couldn't eat it. I'd try to find a way not to eat it, just like Shishi. I really envy his courage, not being afraid to eat human flesh at all. If it were me, I'd have thrown up long ago. Qiu Ming, sitting next to Zhang Yan, immediately realized something was wrong with the sandwich after seeing the reactions of Qin Shishi and Xiaomei. His round little face instantly wrinkled up like a suffering old man. He covered his stomach, where several bites of the sandwich had already gone down. He wished he could slap himself hard. Beauty truly leads people astray. Chapter 91. If you are tired of living, give me another one. I'm a college student. Qiu Ming saw his teammate Zhang Yan eating so calmly, then looked at his dad and mom, and finally steeled his heart, enduring the nausea to continue eating the sandwich in his hand. He had no choice. He knew nothing about this instance. He couldn't possibly lose his life just to avoid eating a human flesh sandwich, could he? Qin Shishi's method was certainly good, but he definitely wouldn't dare to use filial piety as an excuse to give this already somewhat unappetizing sandwich to his mom and dad. Who knows, they might turn into ghost NPCs and eat him, the filial son, instead. As for the little girl sitting next to Qin Shishi, she was carefree, concentrating on enjoying her delicious sandwich the entire time, oblivious to everything. Xiu Yuhong is such a glutton. She's just focused on eating her sandwich and doesn't care about anything else. It's a miracle she's survived this long. I know, right? Her eyes haven't left her sandwich for a second. Does she know there's something wrong with this sandwich? Just from listening to the live stream's conversation, I can infer that the sandwich they're eating is seriously problematic. It's a human flesh sandwich. Forget it. Seo Yoo-hoon is a master-level glutton. Even if she knew this was a human flesh sandwich, she'd probably still eat it without hesitation. After Kim Shi-shi returned to her seat, she began to enjoy the sandwich that didn't contain human flesh. On her way back to her seat, she quickly scanned the expressions of everyone present. She inferred that the girl named Seo Mei was not her teammate for this instance. Aside from Seo Mei, who seemed to know something and was constantly in a state of terror, Kim Shi-shi estimated she was 5 or 6 years old from the way she spoke, though she looked only 3 or 4 due to long-term malnutrition, making her as thin as a skeleton. As for the other 3 fair-skinned, chubby children, they were probably players, like her, matched to this instance by the system. After everyone had more or less finished breakfast, Mom called Kim Shi-shi and the other children to go play in the toy room on the second floor, while she began to clear the dishes. As Kim Shi-shi and the others slowly went upstairs, the doorbell rang from the entrance. Kim Shi-shi slowed her steps, wanting to hear what was happening. Dad and Mom got up to open the door, and 2 police officers entered. After showing their badges, they asked with serious expressions, "Hello, madam and sir, someone reported that you might be disturbing the peace at night and possibly engaging in child abuse. Do you have anything to explain?" Dad smiled sheepishly, explaining apologetically, "Uncle Police, this is a complete misunderstanding. We have a lot of children, and they do get quite noisy at night when they don't sleep. We'll try our best to discipline them." Mom also quickly chimed in, "Yes, Uncle Police, we have 4 very young children who don't quite understand adult words yet. They do cry and are difficult to manage at night. We're so sorry to have troubled you with a visit." Uncle Police saw that their attitude was good and no longer dwelled on the disturbance issue, turning instead to the child abuse question. Dad honestly said, "Child abuse is absolutely impossible. The children are playing happily in the toy room right now." Mom also nodded in agreement, indicating that there was absolutely no child abuse. Uncle Police, in a business-like manner, still asked the parents to take them to see the children. Kim Shi-shi saw them coming towards the stairs. Terrified, she, who was still crouching and eavesdropping in the stairwell, quickly scurried her short legs and rushed to the toy room on the second floor. Fortunately, she entered the toy room just as the others came up, otherwise, she would have been caught not being in the toy room. After opening the toy room, Uncle Police carefully scanned it several times. One of the police officers pointed at Seo Mei and asked the middle-aged parents beside them, "Why is she so thin?" As one police officer said this, he instructed the other officer to check the little girl for any signs of abuse. Seeing this, Dad calmly but sadly explained, "That's our eldest daughter, Seo Mei. She's always been a picky eater. We took her to the hospital, and the doctor said she has an incurable eating disorder. We're at our wits' end with her. Yes, Uncle Police, we would never abuse our own child. I try different ways to make delicious food every day, but all our other children are plump and healthy, yet Seo Mei can't gain weight no matter what. As parents, we feel heartbroken and distressed." As Mom spoke, tears of sadness began to well up in her eyes. The inspecting police officer returned and shook his head at the questioning officer, indicating that he hadn't found any scars on Seo Mei. It seemed, as her parents said, her emaciation was due to an eating disorder. Seeing that the results were clear, the 2 police officers finally left with relief. After seeing off the 2 police officers, the middle-aged couple instantly dropped their loving demeanor, their eyes overflowing with darkness. Mom took 2 adult thighs from the kitchen, handed one to Dad on the sofa, and the 2 began gnawing on them with relish while watching a boring soap opera. Unfortunately, Kim Shi-shi and the other little ones in the toy room couldn't see this exciting scene. In the toy room, Kim Shi-shi quickly gathered with her teammates to discuss the instance mission. Seo Yoo-hoon pointed at Seo Mei, who was cowering against the wall and not interacting with them, and asked doubtfully, "Isn't she our teammate?" Zhang Yan rolled his eyes at her. "She's probably an NPC in this instance." Qiu Ming had been holding it in for a while, covering his stomach, and said painfully, "You guys discuss first, I need to go to the restroom." With that, he covered his mouth and nose as if about to vomit with one hand, and his stomach with the other, and headed to the restroom. Why is he only throwing up now? He already ate it, so he'll just suffer again. It's better to throw up than to have human flesh stay in your stomach. Just thinking about it is awful. It seems this little friend Qiu Ming's endurance isn't great. Look at our little friend Zhang Yan, he's still calm and collected. Unlike Zhang Yan's live stream, Xiao Yuhuan's live stream was filled with laughter. I hope our darling Ah Huan can hold it in and not throw up later when she finds out she ate a human flesh sandwich. I made a bet with someone outside. What kind of bet did you make with someone? Tell us. I bet someone that I follow a player who eats everything. No matter what it is, as long as it's delicious, she can eat it without vomiting. TSK, what's so great about that bet? What's your stake? If Ah Huan throws up later when she finds out what she ate was problematic, then I lose the bet, and I have to give the winner's live stream a restart card. If I win, then I get a restart card. Damn it, you crazy idiots, you have restart cards and you are playing like this. This is practically playing with your lives. If you have too many lives, please give me one, I'm a university student. I don't even have a single restart card yet. After Qin Shishi discussed with her teammates, they decided to first ask Xiao Mei to see if they could get any useful clues. However, Qin Shishi and the two others tried to coax Xiao Mei, but she just stared blankly at the wall, not responding to them at all. Xiao Mei's unresponsiveness made Qin Shishi very puzzled, because when she had given the food to Mom earlier, she had clearly detected a hint of surprise in Xiao Mei's frightened eyes. Chapter 92 Why does the kitchen suddenly feel cold? Seeing that they couldn't get the clues they wanted from Xiao Mei, Qin Shishi and the others were inevitably a bit disappointed. The problem they faced now was that none of their teammates had come in with a guide, so they were at a loss regarding the Save the Parents mission in this SS rank instance. Their parents were living perfectly fine now, so there was no need for them to be saved. However, Xiao Mei's strong aversion to eating the sandwich made everyone suspect that the meat in the sandwich was problematic, but their parents' explanation when the police arrived fit Xiao Mei's symptoms perfectly. So, was that sandwich actually fine? But what did Xiao Mei's display of fear towards her parents indicate? Xiao Yuhong smacked her lips, savoring the delicious sandwich from the morning. The meat inside was tender and juicy, soft yet chewy. It seemed that Mom really was trying her best to make delicious food, hoping to make Xiao Mei gain weight. Xiao Yuhong said, "I wonder if Xiao Mei has misunderstood her parents. Why would she resist and be afraid of them when the sandwich is so delicious?" Zhang Yan shook his head. He was a person without a sense of taste, so after entering the horror world, he ate everything, and for him, everything tasted like chewing wax. He couldn't appreciate the deliciousness of the sandwich and was quite envious of players like Xiao Yuhong who had a sense of taste. Jing, so, all this time, your calm, expressionless eating of the sandwich was because you have no sense of taste. Do you know how deeply your live stream fans have misunderstood you? Qin Shishi also shook her head. She also had no clue at all right now. Qiu Ming, who had returned from throwing up in the bathroom, slowly interjected, looking drained, "Don't you guys think the sandwich is problematic?" After speaking, he looked at Zhang Yan and Xiao Yuhong, who had also eaten the sandwich, with a puzzled expression. Xiao Yuhong and Zhang Yan looked bewildered, and Qiu Ming lowered his voice, saying, "I suspect the meat inside is human flesh, otherwise, why would Xiao Mei be so resistant to eating the sandwich?" As soon as he said this, Seo Yuhung froze, then reacted with an incredulous look. Human flesh sandwiches can actually be this delicious. Zhang Yan, on the other hand, shrugged indifferently, indicating, for me, everything tastes the same, I don't feel anything. Seeing their reactions, Qiu Ming was dumbfounded, then he swallowed, gave a thumbs up, and said admiringly, one word, impressive. Seo Yuhung rolled her eyes at him, extended two plump little fingers to form a two, and said speechlessly, impressive is two words. Qin Shishi suddenly had an idea about the human flesh sandwich mentioned by the others. The source of all questions was related to the meat in the sandwich. She thought for a moment and expressed her idea. We don't have any good clues right now. Since everyone is suspicious of the morning sandwich, why don't we start by looking for clues from the sandwich? Zhang Yan nodded and said, I think so too. Let's find an opportunity to go into the kitchen today and see if we can find anything unexpected. So, the four decided to work together to get into the kitchen and look for clues today, depending on the situation. At lunchtime, they were called down to eat by Mom. On the dining table on the first floor, there were 4 dishes in one soup: stir-fried green beans with meat, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, braised potatoes with meat, stir-fried greens, and a large pot of bone soup. The aroma of the food rushed into everyone's nostrils, but Qin Shishi and the other 3, due to their earlier human flesh speculation, did not eat any dishes with meat. Mom saw that Seo Mei was only eating scrambled eggs with tomatoes and greens, frowned, and asked her with concern, Seo Mei, eat more meat. This morning, Uncle Police almost misunderstood your father and me, thinking that you were so thin because we, as your parents, were abusing you. Before she finished speaking, Mom put a piece of meat into Seo Mei's bowl and continued to urge her, good child, just eat some, your father and I are heartbroken to see you so thin. At this moment, Dad's gaze swept over the children present, fixed on Seo Mei, and he said sternly, Seo Mei, look at your younger siblings. They are all plump and healthy, and we don't have to worry about them. Why are you such a picky eater, child? The tone of Dad and Mom was full of concern, which made Qin Shishi and the other players even more confused. Was the meat made by Mom actually human flesh, or had they really misunderstood? Was Seo Mei simply disgusted by meat and suffering from anorexia? Fortunately, throughout lunch, Dad and Mom's attention was entirely on the thin and frail Seo Mei, and they didn't care if the healthy, fair-skinned Qin Shishi and the other young players were picky eaters and didn't eat meat. Qin Shishi speculated, could it be that Uncle Police's visit this morning made them so concerned about Seo Mei? Seeing that Mom was about to send them to the toy room on the second floor again, Qin Shishi seized the opportunity and jumped down from her chair. With a pretty smiling face, she went to Mom's side and acted cute, saying, Mom, Shishi doesn't want to go back and play with toys. Shishi wants to help Mom wash the dishes together, okay? Seeing that one teammate had already gone up, the other 3 teammates were not to be outdone and came to Mom's side, tugging at her clothes with their small, tender hands, saying, Mom, we also want to help you wash dishes and clean up. 4 chubby little darlings surrounded Mom, showering her with affection. Mom nodded with relief and said, you children are so good, but the kitchen is too small, it can't fit so many people. And you're not tall enough to reach the sink yet. Wait until you grow up to help Mom. Hearing Mom's refusal, Qin Shishi immediately said, Mom, I can stand on a stool to help you. Me too, me too. The other 3 children echoed. Dad, who had already left the dining table and sat on the sofa, heard the children's chattering voices and said impatiently, don't bother your mom. 2 of you go in and help her, and the other 2 wipe the table and sweep the floor. As Dad's words of assignment fell, Mom compromised and took Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan into the kitchen, leaving Seo Yuhung and Qiu Ming to do the chores outside. Upon entering the kitchen, Mom instructed, Seo Yan, stand on this stool and hand the washed dishes to Shishi to put in that cupboard. Qin Shishi obediently pointed to the cupboard placed near the refrigerator and sweetly asked, "Is it that cupboard?" After getting Mom's affirmation, Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan exchanged glances. Zhang Yan stood on the stool, keeping an eye out and blocking Mom, preventing her from looking back, buying Qin Shishi time to check the refrigerator in suspicious places. Once Mom turned her back to Qin Shishi and started washing dishes, Qin Shishi began to act. She went to the refrigerator and used all her strength to open the refrigerator door. After the refrigerator door was opened, Qin Shishi quickly scanned the refrigerator. There was no suspicious meat in the fridge, only some eggs, drinks, and vegetables that needed to be refrigerated. Qin Shishi wanted to open the lower compartment of the refrigerator, but Mom's words made her stop her actions in surprise. Mom, while washing dishes, suddenly said, "Why does it suddenly feel colder in the kitchen?" Chapter 93 What if I get discovered? I won't be able to come. Zhang Yan smiled and replied, "Maybe it's because the weather outside has gotten cold." With one hand behind his back, Zhang Yan gestured for Qin Shishi to close the refrigerator door after she finished checking it. With the other hand, he pointed to the open window to the right of the sink and continued to guide her. "Mom, look, there are dark clouds outside. It's going to rain, so it's a bit cold indoors." His mother looked out the window, saw the dark clouds, and didn't think much of it. However, her hands, which were washing dishes, remained still, her gaze fixed on a stout man outside the window. His mother unconsciously licked her lips, her eyes filled with irrepressible excitement. Zhang Yan followed his mother's gaze and naturally saw the stout man. He immediately raised a question to buy Qin Shishi some time. "Mom, is that stout uncle outside the window our neighbor?" His mother shook her head, her gaze still burning as it rested on the stout man, and replied, "He might be a new neighbor. Maybe he's the one who reported our family. Mom and Dad will have to go visit the new neighbor then." As soon as she finished speaking, the stout man had already moved out of sight from the window. Only then did his mother reluctantly withdraw her gaze and continue washing dishes. Meanwhile, Qin Shishi had finished checking the freezer compartment. She also took the opportunity to look at several suspicious spots. After Qin Shishi put all the bowls Zhang Yan handed her back in their proper places, the dishwashing was over, and the two children returned to the toy room on the second floor. Toy room. Qin Shishi shook her head and said, "There's no human meat, but there are bloodstains in the freezer. I don't know whose blood it is." Zhang Yan, "It must be human blood. Just now, the way Mom looked at that stout man outside the window was like looking at a delicious roasted suckling pig. Perhaps they had just finished eating the frozen human meat, which is why she couldn't find any." Seo Yuhung, according to the mission requirement, we need to save our parents. If they really eat human meat, do we really have to save them? Qiu Ming, perhaps they are controlled by something to eat human meat. So, if we want to save them, we have to stop them from eating human meat. No, haven't you considered a possibility? They are not the parents you need to save. Those involved are often confused, while bystanders are clear. They are currently only deceived by the loving parents they are portraying. They will soon realize something is wrong. If these parents are not the target, then where are the real parents? I don't know. This can only depend on them. After all, they can't see the live stream comments. Qin Shishi's gaze fell on Xiaomi, who had returned to the toy room and was cowering by the wall after lunch. She felt that the key to breaking the situation must be with Xiaomi. Soon, an opportunity arose. After dinner, Mom and Dad said they were going to visit the neighbors and told Qin Shishi and the other children to go back to their rooms and sleep early. If they came back and found anyone still awake, they would be punished. Qin Shishi and the other children obediently agreed, but as soon as the parents left, they began to search recklessly all over the room. Other than the parents' locked room and a locked basement, they found no useful clues elsewhere. After the parents returned, Qin Shishi and the other children promptly returned to their rooms and pretended to be asleep. Screech, screech, screech. The sound of a heavy object being dragged came from outside the door. It only stopped when the children's room door was opened from the outside, creating a small crack. Two eyes eerily peered inside. Seeing no abnormalities, the door was gently closed. Screech, screech, screech. The sound of the heavy object being dragged gradually faded into the distance, becoming softer and softer. From the kitchen downstairs came the thump-thump of chopping meat and bones, which sounded particularly harsh and terrifying in the quiet night. At 11 p.m., the sound of chopping downstairs had stopped. Qin Shishi and the other players heard faint conversations outside the door. We just finished the stored meat today, and unexpectedly, new food was delivered to our doorstep. This way, we don't have to go far to catch any. As soon as his mother's voice fell, his father's voice rang out again. I told you not to share the meat with those little brats, we don't even have enough for ourselves. If we finish this batch and no new neighbors move in, we'll have to go far and put in a lot of effort to catch some. Mom, alright, I won't add human meat for them anymore, is that good enough? I'm just afraid they'll get skinny from lack of nutrition and cause the police to keep showing up, it's such a hassle. As the sound of a door opening and closing came from the parents' room in the distance, Qin Shishi and the other players knew that no one was downstairs anymore. They had discussed beforehand that they would start their actions an hour after the middle-aged parents returned to their room and fell asleep. However, before they could even begin their actions, Xiao Mei made her move. Qin Shishi's eyes, hidden by the quilt in the darkness, quietly made out the person who had gotten up. Her teammates instinctively avoided alarming her. The few of them were quite in sync. After Xiao Mei furtively left the children's room, Qin Shishi and the other three gathered to discuss in low voices. Zhang Yan, what is she trying to do in the middle of the night? Qin Shishi whispered, let's use an invisibility item and follow her to see. Xiao Yuhong and Qiu Ming both stated that their invisibility items had just been used up in the previous instance. So, Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan, who had invisibility items, went ahead to see what Xiao Mei was doing, while Xiao Yuhong and Qiu Ming stayed in the room for now. Too many people sometimes make it easier for things to go wrong. The parents' room and the children's room were on opposite sides of the second floor. Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan saw Xiao Mei stealthily slip into the parents' room. A moment later, she came out with a string of keys in her hand. Xiao Mei covered her mouth and nose, her movements careful and cautious, each step so light it made no sound. She quickly went downstairs with the keys, and Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan hurried to follow her. Xiao Mei started cooking rice in the kitchen. About half an hour later, she began to take off her shirt, pour all the rice into it, and lift it up. After restoring the kitchen to its original state, Xiao Mei, carrying the cooked rice bundled in her clothes, left the kitchen and went to the basement that Qin Shishi and the others hadn't opened earlier. Xiao Mei used the keys stolen from the parents' room to open the basement door, then quickly went inside. Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan, who were following her, exchanged glances and also went inside. The dark basement was filled with a foul stench, a suffocating and oppressive atmosphere. Only a tiny bit of light filtered down from a single exhaust vent above. What shocked Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan was that there were two people hidden in the basement, their necks bound by chains. The two people, with their messy, tangled hair, were not only restrained by chains but also enclosed in two metal barrels, with only their heads exposed. When the two people saw Xiao Mei, they were clearly very excited. They opened their mouths, but no tongues were visible. Xiao Mei lowered her voice and said, Mom and Dad, I've brought you something to eat. As she spoke, Xiao Mei began to use her hands to knead the cooked rice from her clothes into small balls and feed them into the mouths of the two people whose faces were obscured by their disheveled hair. Eat slowly, don't spill it. If you're discovered, I won't be able to come anymore. Chapter 94 I really didn't lie, believe me. So the parents in the basement are a real rescue target, Seo Yuhung said in disbelief. Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan had already returned before Seo Mei did. Hearing movement outside the door, Zhang Yan reminded, let's talk about it tomorrow, she's back. The next day, Qin Shishi and the others, who woke up for breakfast, found the today's sandwiches were different from yesterday's. The meat in the sandwiches had no strange aroma, so it seemed it wasn't human flesh. After mom told them to start eating, Seo Mei, who had resisted eating sandwiches yesterday, picked one up and ate it this time without being urged. It seemed Seo Mei had always known that the parents in front of her were not her real parents, but monsters who ate human flesh. Breakfast was very peaceful. Back in the toy room, the four of them, Qin Shishi, gathered again. We can't get any information from Seo Mei. What should we do? Qiu Ming sighed, pulling his gaze away from Seo Mei, who was still huddled in the corner. Seo Yuhung scratched her hair, looking a bit distressed. What can we do? Rescue the real parents. How about we come clean with Seo Mei, that we can help rescue her parents? Zhang Yan suggested. Qin Shishi nodded, indicating it was worth a try. So Zhang Yan went to Seo Mei's side. We are here to help you rescue your parents from the basement. Hearing this, Seo Mei's lifeless eyes trembled, and her lips were pursed, still not speaking. Finally, Zhang Yan shook his head and returned without success. You watching like this is making me anxious. Couldn't you just rescue the parents from the basement when the human-eating monsters are asleep? Yes, how simple. I think the key to the chains locking up the parents last night is on Seo Mei's keyring. Seo Mei probably can't rescue them alone. But now all four of them are players who are 3 or 4-year-old children. How could they rescue 2 adults? Yesterday we saw that they didn't even have tongues and were in iron barrels, possibly without limbs, a bit like a human pig. How can a few children rescue people without hands and feet? Let's act directly. Prepare everything these 2 days and rescue the real parents, Qin Shishi proposed. Qiu Ming said excitedly, although I don't have an invisibility item, I have a strength pill, bought at a discount from the system store. I can try its effect. Then let's rescue them tonight, Zhang Yan said. Qin Shishi, let's first figure out the daily routines of the fake parents before acting. Hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement. On the second day of the instance, Qin Shishi and the others found that the fake parents were out during the day, except when preparing 3 meals and sleeping at night. So, on the third day of the instance, Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan used invisibility items to follow the fake parents out. The fake parents seemed to be looking for something within the area centered around the house. The fake mother came out of an abandoned house and excitedly rushed into the house where the fake father was. I found new clothes. Saying that, the fake mother displayed a piece of clothing in her hand in front of the fake father. The fake father was equally excited, pulling the mother and saying, quick, take me there, then we'll have a clue about New. So the two went to the house where the girl's clothes were found and rummaged through it. Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan also searched in this house for clues about the person they were looking for. The dilapidated house had been abandoned for a long time. Qin Shishi found that apart from a girl's clothing belonging to New, there were no other clothes of that size. But there was one suspicious grey garment, a loose piece of clothing large enough for a pregnant woman or a fat person. Besides that, all the clothes were men's, and they all belonged to an adult man, proving that this man was not fat. From this, it could be inferred that the previous garment could not have been for a fat person, otherwise there wouldn't be only one. There was also only one piece of the girl's clothing, which indicated that the girl was not from this family. Then looking at the fake parents crying in pain over that girl's clothing. Could the owner of that girl's clothing be their daughter? After returning to the human-eating family's home, Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan immediately shared the information they had gained. Qiu Ming was confused now. he asked puzzledly. Then do we still need to rescue the real parents in the basement? Seo Yuhung nodded and stated her opinion. We still have to rescue them. After all, they're Seo Mei's parents. Zhang Yan, let's make a quick decision. Since we already know where the real parents are, let's rescue them first. Qin Shishi always felt that things were not that simple, but she had no ideas at the moment. After discussion, they decided to act tonight to rescue the real parents. At night, when Seo Mei opened the basement lock with the stolen key, the four of them, Qin Shishi, appeared before her. Zhang Yan said enthusiastically, don't be afraid, we can help you rescue your parents. Seo Mei's expressionless face actually showed a smile, but it was a strange smile. She spoke in surprise, can you really rescue my mom and dad? That's great, thank you. Immediately after Qiu Ming took the strength pill, he broke the chains that were trapping the real parents' necks. Just when everyone thought they were about to rescue the real parents, an unexpected situation occurred. Seo Mei, who had just thanked them, suddenly turned her back and shouted loudly into the basement, Mom and Dad. This is bad. My younger siblings are trying to rescue the two people in the basement. Before her words finished, Seo Mei was also planning to rush out of the basement to call for help. The four of them, Qin Shishi, instantly realized the situation was bad and all started to run out, but the door was locked by Seo Mei. Soon, the voices of the fake parents and Seo Mei talking could be heard outside the basement. Seo Mei, Mom and Dad, my younger siblings are locked inside by me. You don't need to check their room, they are right inside. Fake mother, Seo Mei, you're not lying, are you? Fake father, don't we know if she's lying by going in and seeing? As the basement door was opened, there was no one else inside except the two people in the iron barrels. Seo Mei searched around and said in disbelief, I'm not lying. Mom and Dad, they were just locked in here by me. The fake mother's expression was disbelieving, and her tone was harsh. Why do you have this key? Did you secretly take the key to the basement again? Seo Mei was scared back a few steps by her parents' sharp gazes and explained somewhat stammering, I came down to see if they were dead. I didn't expect my younger siblings to try to rescue them. After she spoke, Seo Mei's eyes caught sight of the two broken chains, and she excitedly pointed to the broken chains on the ground. Look at this, this was broken by Xiu Ming. I really didn't lie, believe me. The fake mother and fake father looked suspicious, clearly not believing her. They turned and left Xiu Mei in the basement, locked the door, and went upstairs. Chapter 95 Shishi, quickly say hello to your Uncle Jing. The children's room door opened, and Qin Shishi and the other children were all sound asleep in their small beds. Mom and Dad tiptoed over, leaning in to observe the four children's sleeping states. The children's breathing was even, and they were sleeping soundly, with no signs of being awake. As the door closed and Mom and Dad left, Qin Shishi and the others didn't open their eyes. Pretending to be asleep was the best strategy now. Horror instance, loving parents, day 3. At the breakfast table, except for Xiu Mei, who had just been released from the basement and looked haggard and listless, everyone else was in good spirits. Mom, with a beaming smile, served each child a plate of fried dumplings. After distributing them, she casually asked, "Did anyone go to the basement last night?" Qin Shishi looked up at Mom, her expression innocent and bewildered, and asked, "Mom, do we have a basement in our house?" Zhang Yan shook his head. "Mom, I was sleeping all last night, I don't know anything about a basement." Qiu Ming and Xiu Yuhong also nodded in agreement, stating that they didn't know about a basement and had been sleeping all last night. Seeing that they didn't seem to be lying, Mom and Dad's expressions became serious, their eyes sweeping over Xiu Mei, who was sitting trembling in her seat. After a while, Mom's expression softened, and she told the children to eat their breakfast. Qin Shishi and the other children went to the toy room on the second floor after finishing breakfast. Mom watched their retreating figures and said to Dad, who was sitting on the sofa watching TV, is Seo Mei lying? That's nodded disdainfully. Seo Mei is most likely lying. They were all sleeping in their rooms yesterday. Only Seo Mei had the key. I don't know what she was up to. Mom shook her head and asked, puzzled, then who broke the chains that held the two of them? Who else but Seo Mei? If she could steal the key, then she must have broken the chains. After all, only she knew there was a basement in the house, and she even tried to frame her younger siblings. We really shouldn't have kept a child like this, Dad replied angrily. In the toy room, Qin Shishi and her three teammates secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The four began to whisper in a spot far from Seo Mei. Qiuming, thank you, Shishi. If you hadn't used 2 invisibility items on Seo Yuhong and me, we would have been caught yesterday. Seo Yuhong also expressed her gratitude to Qin Shishi. Yesterday, Qiuming had intended to break down the door and escape using the effect of the Great Strength Pill, but Qin Shishi had stopped him in time. Hearing that Mom and Dad hadn't yet checked the children's room, Qin Shishi felt that things hadn't reached a point of confrontation, so she immediately used invisibility items on Qiuming and Seo Yuhong, who didn't have any. Only then could the four successfully return to their room and pretend to be asleep after the door was opened. What's wrong with that Seo Mei? Weren't those in the basement her real parents? Exactly. Why did she do that yesterday? Didn't she go down every night to feed her parents in the basement? Why would she stop Zhang Yan and the others from saving them? It's completely baffling. This instance has 2 pairs of parents. Which pair is real, after all? Based on the current situation, the parents trapped in the basement seem to fit the mission requirements better. They look like they really need to be rescued. Doesn't Seo Mei call the parents in the basement Mom and Dad? But her actions are so contradictory. I don't understand it at all. Seo Yuhong glanced at Seo Mei in the corner and gritted her teeth. We tried to help her rescue her mom and dad yesterday, how could she be so ungrateful? Zhang Yan shook his head, indicating his confusion, his small eyebrows furrowed like a little old man. Qiuming wanted to roll up his sleeves and go punch Seo Mei. If it weren't for her tipping them off, they wouldn't have nearly been exposed yesterday. But before he could take a few steps, Qin Shishi reached out and stopped him. Qin Shishi shook her head and said, "Don't be impulsive. Hitting her won't do us any good. Our most urgent task now is to deduce the correct mission target. Completing the mission is our priority." Zhang Yan said, "Shishi is right." Qin Shishi glanced at Seo Mei, then turned back and analyzed. Seo Mei can get the key from Mom and Dad's room to deliver food to the Mom and Dad in the basement, yet she doesn't save them and doesn't let others save them. Why do you think that is? Seo Yuhong thought for a moment and speculated. She calls them Mom and Dad but doesn't save them. Could it be that they treated her badly? Then why does she call the couple downstairs Mom and Dad? Qiuming clutched his head, complaining with a headache. This is so brain-burning. Just then, conversations could be heard from outside the toy room. "Dad, Mr. Jing, the children are living very well and happily in our home." "Mom, that's right, you can come and see, the children are playing inside right now." As the wooden door opened, a man appeared, wearing a white t-shirt with the words, "Love Orphanage," printed on it and a work badge hanging on his chest. The man was handsome, with distinct bone structure. Even in simple work clothes, his tall figure and unusual demeanor were prominent. As the distance gradually closed, the smile in Qin Shishi's eyes was almost uncontrollable, threatening to spill over. Oh my god, does this instance actually have such a handsome NPC? What role is he playing? Are you blind? Are you only looking at the handsome guy's face and not the big words on his clothes? A staff member from the Love Orphanage came to this house. Is it because these children are adopted? So they're here for a follow-up visit to check on the children's situation. Oh my god, the handsome guy from the Love Orphanage. He's so handsome. This NPC, I want to go to this instance and see him with my own eyes, to experience the beauty shock of NPC Jing. Jing Yi saw little Qin Shishi, who was pretending to play with toys on the floor. the moment he entered the door, as pretty as a doll. He walked over and hurriedly and picked Qin Shishi up into his arms. Such a small, soft, and adorable wife. Jiang Yi restrained his urge to kiss her and, feigning ignorance, asked the middle-aged couple, "Her name is Shishi, right?" Mom nodded, smiling as she replied, "Yes, her name is Shishi, and she's an obedient and well-behaved child." Dad also stepped forward, smiling, and said, "Shishi, quickly say hello to Uncle Jiang." The address, Uncle Jiang, made Jiang Yi freeze. He stared at the middle-aged man with a deep gaze. The middle-aged man started to sweat nervously, not knowing what he had said wrong that made Boss Jiang look at him with such eyes. The middle-aged woman secretly pinched her husband's thigh and helped him out, saying, "Shishi, just call him Gesh. He'll be staying with us for a few days." Indeed, with just one sentence from the middle-aged woman, Jiang Yi's expression softened considerably. Middle-aged woman, idiot, Boss Jiang wouldn't take over for that employee for no reason. He hugged Shishi as soon as he came in, he must know Shishi. Chapter 96. Even if they were turned into excrement, it would be too good for them. Qin Shishi happily greeted Jiang Yi, who was holding her, sweetly calling him Gesh. Her little baby voice was practically melting Jiang Yi, but in front of his subordinates, he still had to maintain his composure. The middle-aged man was sharp this time and said to the other children, "You guys, come over quickly and say hello to this Gesh." Hearing this, Zhang Yan, Xiao Mei, and the other four also gathered around to greet him and call him Gesh, to which Jiang Yi merely nodded in response. Holding Qin Shishi, Jiang Yi turned to the middle-aged couple who had followed him in from outside and said, "According to the orphanage's requirements, I need to stay here today to observe the children's adoption situation." Her parents nodded, indicating their understanding. Jiang Yi held Qin Shishi for the entire morning, only reluctantly putting her down when it was time for lunch. After lunch, Jiang Yi still wanted to hold Qin Shishi, but she refused him. Qin Shishi pouted her little mouth and wiggled her small finger in front of Jiang Yi, refusing, "No, Gesh, if you keep holding me, I won't be able to play with the other children." Jiang Yi looked at the three-player children behind him, sighed helplessly, and could only give up. His wife had really turned into a child, and he hadn't held her enough. The middle-aged couple would still go out to look for things after dinner today. Regarding the Niu, they mentioned, Qin Shishi and the others guessed that she was their biological daughter. Jiang Yi took the opportunity to remind Qin Shishi that her parents' room would unlock all their current questions. Qin Shishi and the other players discussed taking action tonight and going to her parents' room to figure out the whole story. After dinner, Jiang Yi's NPC mission was complete, and he left the house. "No way, is the handsome guy only staying for one day? Please stay 2 more days, I haven't watched enough." Yeah, if these players are destined not to complete the mission, then at least let them get a few more glances at the handsome guy, it'll be a death without regrets. Even if he only appears for one day, I'm willing to take the risk to enter this instance and meet him. He's so handsome, he's stolen my heart. Don't you guys find it strange that this handsome Jiang NPC only held little Shishi and didn't hold any of the other children? What's so strange about that? Little Shishi must be too cute and pretty. If I had to choose one to hold, I'd choose her too. My little Qming, he usually can't take his eyes off beauties, and it's the same with handsome guys this time. It seems he knows what we like to watch, he. After leaving as a mission NPC, Jiang Yi turned invisible and returned to Qin Shishi's side. Sure enough, this way of staying by his wife's side was more comfortable. He could hold her hand whenever he wanted. Qin Shishi subtly allowed Jiang Yi to sit beside her and hold her small hand. Zhang Yan, in the circle of 4, lowered his voice and suggested, "Tonight, Shishi and I will go explore our parents' room. Those of you without invisibility items should wait for our news for now." Everyone else agreed. At night, this time Xiao Mei woke up after midnight, left the room, and headed to her parents' room. Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan followed her invisibly, and Jiang Yi, who was also invisible but only visible to Qin Shishi, floated beside his wife and followed them. Her parents' room. It was very bright, and photos of a girl hung on all four walls. They ranged from babyhood to graduating college in her teens, and the middle-aged couple was in some of them. They smiled very kindly and intimately, their eyes full of love for the girl. There were also some scattered items around, small dresses worn by the little girl, and school uniforms from junior high and high school, all belonging to the girl in the photos. There was also a girl's dress, the one found outside that day, now clean and hanging on a rack by the bed. The middle-aged couple was sleeping on the large bed. Xiao Mei carefully walked to the table beside their bed, opened a drawer, and retrieved a key. After seeing Xiao Mei close the door and leave, Qin Shishi opened the drawer again. Inside the drawer were a notebook and a missing persons notice. Qin Shishi gently took both items out. Missing persons notice, female, 22 years old, went missing on February 9, 1994, at the train station. Height 1.62 meters, oval face, fair skin, large eyes. At the time of disappearance, she was wearing a white t-shirt, black pants, white sports shoes, and carrying a black suitcase. Attached, one photo of the missing person's appearance. Anyone with information on her whereabouts, please contact Yang XX at 135XXXXXXX. A generous reward will be given. The notebook recorded some of the process of searching for Niu Niu. Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan exchanged glances. After reading the contents of the notebook, they returned the items to their original place and then went back to the children's room before Xiao Mei returned. Horror instance, loving parents, day 4. After breakfast, Qin Shishi and the other three gathered in the playroom again. Xiao Yuhun couldn't help but gasp after hearing about Qin Shishi and Zhang Yan's discoveries from exploring her parents' room yesterday. She turned her head, fixing her gaze on Xiao Mei in the corner, her expression complex, seemingly sympathetic yet also disgusted. According to the contents of the notebook, Niu Niu was their daughter. After she went missing, the couple searched all the way and found that their daughter had been trafficked to a small village with more men than women. They moved to this village, which had clues about their daughter, and quickly integrated into the local community, thinking they were about to find their daughter. Unexpectedly, their daughter had already been tortured to death in the second year after being trafficked there, leaving no remains. They hated the people of this small village and vowed to make everyone who had abused their daughter pay the price. They found the child trafficking couple who had kidnapped their daughter Niu Niu and brought her to the small town. From the child trafficking couple, they learned that the little girl, Xiao Mei, who could barely walk, was born when Niu Niu was raped. Because Niu Niu gave birth to Xiao Mei, and the buyer was dissatisfied that she had given birth to a girl, they threw Xiao Mei to the child trafficking couple. And Niu Niu, after becoming pregnant again the following year, died during difficult labor, taking both her and the baby's lives. Her remains were also disposed of by the buyer in an unknown manner. Seeing that they couldn't get any useful information, the child trafficking couple had their limbs cut off and their tongues removed, and they were confined in the basement. The sudden disappearance of the child trafficking couple did not cause panic in the village, as their line of work often involved going on long trips. This small village had rapidly grown and prospered by engaging in such women trafficking activities. Many people even moved here, attracted by the quick money. So this middle-aged couple is doing this to the people of this small village to avenge their daughter. What else? It's too despicable. I just want to say, good riddance. Those villains should have their bones eaten by this poor couple and turned into feces, pulled out. They're getting off easy. Xiao Mei probably didn't have a good life in the hands of the child trafficking couple. If her grandparents, who are blood relatives, hadn't found her, she would probably have been sold off too. Chapter 97. She's most afraid of the dark. Don't let her wait in the dark for too long. So Seo Mei fed the child trafficking couple every day because she didn't want them to starve to death, right? For them, suffering while alive was more painful than dying. But why did Seo Mei call her grandparents, mom and dad? Could it be that, given the circumstances at the time, they could only adopt Seo Mei? Otherwise, their identities might have been exposed in the small town, and they wouldn't have been able to avenge their daughter. I'm so angry, angry and helpless. Even if this poor couple ate all the bad people in the town, many more bad people would still move here for money. Isn't it even better if they come? Let those who come here for fame never return. That way, no more women will be harmed. Eat them all. I only regret that I don't dare to eat them, otherwise, I wouldn't let these things, worse than beasts, off the hook. Qin Shi finally mentioned, their only wish written in the notebook is to find their daughter's remains. Zhang Yan analyzed, according to the mission requirement to save the parents, I don't think those two scumbags in the basement deserve to be saved. What do you all think? Seo Yuhung nodded, gritting her teeth and condemning, it's disgusting. If we had saved those two heinous criminals in the basement without understanding the situation, even if I gave my conscience to the poor mom and dad to eat, I couldn't atone for it. Qiu Ming nodded in agreement, nervously patting his chest with his small hand, yes, yes, yes. I'm scared now, thinking that I was the one who broke the chains that held them, I'm furious. Before he finished speaking, Qiu Ming seemed to feel that just talking wasn't enough to vent his anger. He spread his two small hands, looked at them angrily, and then hit his right hand with his left a few times, and his left hand with his right a few times, giving these two hands, which almost made a big mistake, a lesson. Ha ha ha, Qiu Ming, this little cutie, has his body become a child's, and his mind followed suit. He's truly a righteous little child, even hitting his own hands to vent frustration. Just like they said, this time they acted just by seeing the surface illusion, and they almost failed the mission. That's right, if they had really rescued the child trafficking couple from the basement that day, mission failure would have been a certainty. Qin Shi met the eyes of the invisible Jiang Yi. Seeing him nod calmly, Qin Shi withdrew her gaze and said to her three teammates, so we should save Niu Niu's mom and dad, find Niu Niu's remains, and fulfill their wish. I know where mom's remains are. At this moment, Seo Mei, who had been silently in the corner, spoke. Qin Shi and her three teammates all looked at Seo Mei in disbelief. Qiu Ming asked in confusion, weren't you unresponsive all this time? Why suddenly? Seo Mei stood up from the wall. The thin and small girl slowly walked to the four of them. I misunderstood you, but when you first said you wanted to save the parents in the basement, I thought you were bad children, so I reported you to them. Seo Yuhuan's jaw almost dropped in surprise. So you knew everything, right? Then why did you call them mom and dad? Seo Mei, with a mature expression, showed a bitter smile. I called the ones in the basement, mom and dad, because they picked me up and adopted me, but never gave me a single good day. So I won't let them starve to death like this. They have to live and endure the punishment from my grandparents. She continued, I call my grandparents, mom and dad, because they were unwilling to accept that I was the child born from mom's rape. So, they adopted you four from the orphanage, also wanting to treat me as adopted, so they could hate me a little less. Qin Shi and the other players looked at this little girl, whose life had been miserable since birth, and couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. Perhaps she didn't want to be born this way, her fate was undoubtedly tragic. Zhang Yan was somewhat speechless. He asked Seo Mei, why didn't you tell your grandparents to let them find your birth mother's remains? Seo Mei shook her head, her expression sad, and tears began to fall from her eyes. Grandparents stayed here because they wanted to avenge mom. Now that the bad people in the town have been eaten, if they find mom's remains, they will probably leave. Seeing everyone's confused expressions, Seo Mei continued to explain, I was afraid that after grandparents found mom, they wouldn't want me anymore, so I never dared to say anything. Hearing this, Keen Shishi and the other players didn't know what to say to this little girl who desperately wanted to cling to the faint affection of her grandparents and didn't want them to find her birth mother's whereabouts and abandon her. They couldn't judge whether Xiao Mei's actions of clinging to her grandparents' care and not wanting them to find her birth mother's whereabouts sooner and abandon her were right or wrong. After all, they hadn't experienced what Xiao Mei had. Keen Shishi patted Xiao Mei's shoulder and asked her, "Then why do you choose to speak out now?" Xiao Mei, with a tear-stained face, choked out, "I don't know why, but I don't want to keep it bottled up anymore. After grandparents find mom, they probably won't want me anymore." Keen Shishi and the others fell silent. They weren't sure if Xiao Mei would be abandoned by her grandparents after Niu Niu's remains were found. After a long silence, Qiu Ming asked the question that the players most wanted to ask at that moment, "So where exactly are her remains?" Xiao Mei, in the town chief's son's grave. It turned out that ever since Xiao Mei was old enough to walk and remember, the town chief's mentally disabled son had died in an accident. The town chief's family held a ritual to arrange a ghost marriage for their son, so they asked the child trafficking couple to find a recently deceased girl to be his match. At that time, the child trafficking couple had already planned to wash their hands of their past and enjoy their retirement. However, they dared not refuse the town chief's request, so they set their sights on Niu Niu, whose body had died a year ago and hadn't completely rotted yet. At that time, Niu Niu was wrapped in a straw mat and buried on a mountain not far from the town. The child trafficking couple had even helped dispose of her body that year. So when they were discussing digging up Niu Niu's body and sending it to be matched with the town chief's son, Xiao Mei heard everything clearly from outside the door. Bang! The door to the toy room opened from the outside, and Xiao Mei's grandparents stood outside, their faces already streaming with tears. At this moment, the person Keen Shishi and the other players called Mom, who was Xiao Mei's grandmother, wiped the tears from her face, walked quickly into the room, and picked up Xiao Mei. "Xiao Mei, good child, thank you for telling us where Niu Niu is." Hearing this, Xiao Mei's tears also rolled down uncontrollably again. "I'm sorry, grandparents, I was too selfish." The middle-aged man also wiped away his tears and stepped forward to put his hand on his wife's shoulder. Let's go quickly and bring our daughter home. She's most afraid of the dark, don't let her wait too long in the darkness." Just as the middle-aged man's words fell, the mechanical system prompt sounded in the minds of Keen Shishi and the other players. Congratulations to the players for completing the Loving Parents Instance mission. System rewards have been issued. Players, please check. A white light flashed, and Keen Shishi and the other players were thus teleported out of the instance.